Hello, everybody. So it's been a pretty wild weekend for the markets, even though the markets are not open. But the Middle East news is pretty crazy. So we'll see what the market does tonight. But MSTR is steady eddy. It's the steady eddy player. Saylor bought more Bitcoin, and more importantly, stretch yield was increased. Stretch yield is now 11.5%. So I expect a lot of demand for stretch. So let's go really briefly. The market is scared, and it's going to be a big question as to what's going to happen tonight, Sunday evening in the US when the markets open. The futures, what are they going to do? Lots of people expecting them down. I don't know. Bitcoin is holding up pretty okay, pretty well. Yes, we dropped like $1,000 from yesterday, but we're holding up pretty well. A little more than 1,000. We're holding up pretty well. But Saylor's not scared. Saylor's clearly not scared. Talking about the turn of the century, of course, we are now getting past 100 buys, and so Saylor is very bullish on Bitcoin. And stretch, he increased the rate of stretch. So these are the two big pieces of news as far as we're concerned with this stock. Of course, I want to talk briefly about 11.5%. So with 11.5% and with Bitcoin being in a slight recovery, if we have a macro recovery in March, which we so need, I mean, the new Fed chair should be installed in May, right? So the market should be forward-looking. Like March should be the month where the market is being hopeful about the new Fed chair. Hopefully oil doesn't go up through the roof too much and mess up inflation for us. That's the big risk, I think. But the market should be starting pricing in a lot of positivity with a new Fed chair being introduced. And 11.5% yield on stretch is just absolutely outstanding. In my view, if we recover, I think stretch will be ATM'd on most days. I expect stretch to trade at 100 for most of the time, and that's of course provided that we have functioning markets, and that will be by design. And so when that happens, I think this is going to be very bullish for Saylor. Note that Friday we ATM'd at 11.25. We're able to ATM at 11.25. So 11.5 will be able to ATM. Briefly, I want to talk about this too. It's of course it's the weekend, so we don't have much data. We know Saylor launched an ETP in Europe, so we're going to be able to track that going forward when the market opens, when that exchange traded product opens. But the stablecoin, the stretch-based stablecoin, I think is the most interesting thing, and you'll note that on Friday evening, they had 10 million of value locked in that algorithm, in that DeFi algorithm. They now have 13 million on Sunday morning. 13 million. And of course, the yield is not 300% APY anymore, right? They need to have enough liquidity. They need to balance the yield. Over time, the yield will be roughly the same as stretch. But you can see that yield now has dropped to 67%. Over time, that yield will be the same. But very, very interestingly, and I shouldn't be surprised. I don't really do DeFi. I tested it once or twice, but I don't do it. It's not my generation of investing. But it's not available in the US, so it's I'm wondering if people just use a VPN to circumvent that. But Apex, as it is going to be an instrument for non-US holder, and so that's another way that stretch goes international is they are able, that stable coin, the yield earned on that stable coin will be held internationally mostly, unless people want to use ATM. So we are accessing international crypto markets thanks to that stable coin. I think it's a bigger deal than most people imagine. Most people think this stable coin that's going to be yielding 11% is a big deal. And it's a way to onboard more people. You have people swapping USDC, swapping Tether. You swap these stable coins to then money that's going to go straight into stretch. So anyways, unfortunately, very light news on strategy, very little things to say on strategy today because it's all about the Middle East. And, that's not my area of expertise. I am so annoyed by these markets. I just want it to be normal for once. Can we have a quiet few months, please? But unfortunately, that's not really the case. So, two bullish pieces of news today for strategy. Now, will the market recognize that or not? Well, that depends on an external factor that has nothing to do with strategy. That depends on the Middle East. So anyways, this was not investment advice, not financial advice, only entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.